All right, this is a little off topic, I suppose. Got a little joke for you. It was starting to get overcrowded in heaven, so St. Peter came to Jesus to have a talk with him to see what they would do. And Jesus said to St. Peter, well, here's what you do. When somebody comes to the gates of heaven and they want to come in, ask them what sort of day they've had. If they've had a pretty good day, send them back. But if they've had a really bad day, go ahead and let them come on in and do this until we can figure out what to do about the overcrowding. St. Peter says, got it. So the first day, Al Gore shows up at the gates of heaven. And St. Peter says to Mr. Gore, well, Mr. Gore, before I can let you in, I've got to ask you what kind of day you've had. And Al Gore says, oh man, you wouldn't believe it. It was a terrible day. He said, I live on the 24th floor of a high-rise apartment in Washington, D.C., and I was supposed to be out of the country, but I got back home early, and I was going to surprise Tipper when I got there. So I come in, and I find her in a sexy negligee, all dolled up, makeup, just gorgeous. And I knew there was somebody there. I knew she was messing around. And I thought, I'm going to find this person, and I'm going to kill him. And I looked everywhere. I looked in the closets. I looked under the bed. I looked in the pantry. I looked in the cupboards. I looked under the sink. Nothing anywhere. And so I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm leaning against the sink, and I happen to look out through the glass doors on the balcony, and I see two hands hanging onto the rail. And I say, I found him. So I go out there and I see this guy hanging onto the rails on the balcony trying to hide. And so I start banging on his hands, and he won't let go. And he won't let go. And so I take off my shoe and I hit him on the knuckles, and finally he falls. And as he's falling, he lands in a tree. The tree breaks his fall. He ends up on the ground, and he's not dead. And I want this guy dead. So I'm trying to think, how can I kill him? And I see the refrigerator, and I know that it's on wheels, so I roll it out, I unplug it, I roll it out onto the balcony, I push it over the railing, lift it over, the refrigerator falls on the guy, crushes him, and I am so happy, I am so elated, I am so excited. I drop dead with a heart attack, and here I am. St. Peter says, oh man, you've definitely had a bad day. Come on in. Mr. Gore walks on in. Next thing you know, Dick Cheney comes up to the gates of heaven. St. Peter looks at him and says, well, hello, Mr. Cheney, welcome to heaven. Mr. Cheney goes, heaven? Oh man, I guess that explains it. St. Peter says, well, I'd be glad to let you in, but I got to first ask you what kind of day you've had. And Mr. Cheney says, oh man, it was a terrible day. He said, I live on the 26th floor of this high-rise apartment in Washington, D.C. I was out on the balcony working out, having a lemonade, decided to relax, leaned against the balcony to sip my lemonade. The balcony gave way. I fell off, and I'm thinking, I'm dead. But you know what? As fate would have it, I was able to grab onto the balcony below. I caught myself, and I was trying to pull myself up and get back in to safety. And all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, I don't know why on earth, but this guy starts hitting on my hands. I'm trying to pull myself up on the balcony. Next thing I know, he takes off his shoes, and he's hitting me on the knuckles, and I lose my grip. And I fall, and I'm thinking, oh God, I'm dead. But then I hit this tree, and the tree breaks my fall. And by some miracle, next thing you know, I'm lying on the ground, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm saved. I'm alive. I can't believe it. And a half a second later, I look up, and out of the sky, here comes this refrigerator, and it lands right on top of me, and it crushes me, and I'm dead. And here I am. And St. Peter says, man, you've definitely had a bad day. Come in here right now. So Mr. Cheney walks on into heaven. Next thing, Bill Clinton walks up to the gates of heaven. St. Peter looks at him and says, well, hello, Mr. Clinton. Welcome to heaven. And Bill says, heaven? Oh, man. I guess that would explain it, wouldn't it? And St. Peter says, I'd be glad to let you in, but I first got to ask you what kind of day you've had. And Bill Clinton said, oh, man, you wouldn't believe it was a horrible day. It started out, I was hiding naked inside of this refrigerator.